Hey, this is Miss Adair, and we're starting out our measurements for the progression watercolor triptych. So you may have seen on the first picture there, we're going to take a bunch of measurements across the long side at 1/4 inch, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 3 3/4, 6 3/4, 7, 7 1/4, and 10 1/4 inches. If you need to, go back to that first so you can see the ruler exactly where those places are. We're going to do it again at the bottom. 1/4 inch, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 3 3/4, 6 3/4, 7, 7 1/4, and then 10 1/4. Then along the short side, we're going to take them again at 1/4 inch and 3 1/2 inches. And again on the other side, 1/4 inch and then 3 1/2 inches. And here's what that looks like on the ruler. You're not going to connect those lines. We're going to start off connecting the lines that go across horizontal, and you want to draw these very lightly. I wasn't sure which one was my right line, so I just remeasured it. And you're going to connect them lightly. You're going to end up erasing most of those lines, so be sure you draw it light. My paper is dirty. I wanted to use the dirty one so somebody didn't have to try to watercolor on it. So just be sure you're paying attention to your marks. And then you're going to do the short ones. Just line your ruler up. There's a lot of marks all grouped together, so make sure you've got the right ones. Really take your time. Now we're going to start taping it off. In Polaroids, the border around is white, and we want ours to stay pure and not get dirty, so we're going to tape it off. We're going to do the easy edges first. You're just going to tear off a piece of the blue painter's tape, and you're going to be careful and line it directly up across that top horizontal line. And then do it again at the bottom, and you'll see that either my measurement was slightly off or my tape got slightly stretched. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to tape off that bottom part too, where there's no white showing. I don't want any accidents to happen there. We want it to stay pure and white. And then I'm running my fingers over the edges to make sure that that tape gets sealed. Watercolor will run underneath it if it's not sealed, and will ruin those crisp edges. And I'm just folding it over and taping these down. Now for the short sides, we're going to do the same thing. Just tape it on there, and you'll see that I'm going to fold it back, and then it gets kind of lumpy. So I'm going to end up unfolding that, and we'll just cut the extra off because we want our paper to stay straight so that the water lays on it straight, and we can control that a little easier. Same thing for this side. Just a piece of tape. Make sure it's exactly on that line. Otherwise, we took all those measurements for nothing. Get the excess out of the way. We'll go back and trim that up. Now for the middle section, which can be a little trickier. We're going to ignore that middle line there in that group of 3 lines and take a piece of tape and tear it in half and set 1/2 aside. And we're going to line up our straight edges with our line. So make sure it's lined up exactly. But what we're going to run into is when we tear it, we're going to have it overlapping in some places across the other line. And so we're just going to tear off the excess and then use the other half of our tape and line it up with that third line. So right now we're just ignoring the line in the center, and it overlapped again a little bit, so I'm trying to use this pencil to lift it up. You'll see better here in a second when I work on the other side, but just picking up the pieces that overlap. We want those edges to be straight, so we have to tear off some more of the tape. Our tape isn't quite thin enough to do what we need it to do, so we're just making it work for us. And there you can see how I want those edges straight. And then again, take another short piece of tape, tear it in half. We're gonna line the straight edge up with our other line, and you see I'm tearing some more off. There we go. Part of my tape broke, no big deal. I'm just gonna line the rest of the tape back up, make sure it's exactly straight and even, and then tape the other side down. Again, kind of ignoring that center line and that group of 3 lines. Having to tear some tape off. And there we go. Next up is I'm using a glue stick, and I'm just going over all of my straight edges on the inside there, and I'm pressing down hard. I'm really getting that seal, especially in the corners where multiple pieces of tape overlap each other. And then I'm just going to take some scissors and cut off some of the extra tape so that our paper lays flat. And then you're ready to start on your progression drawings and then watercolor. I'm excited about this project. I hope you are too, and I hope you have a great day.